But me personally, I thought it was important to show they're radicalizing other people in their community to go against other people of another like perceived ideology to the point where they're willing to ruin their lives over it.
I would compare him and how he talks in rhetoric like to someone like Ben Shapiro. A genocide, a Holocaust, you know, things like that, right?
I think that Vaush, his rhetoric, if it was said by a right-winger, they would say take him off the internet.
Sure. I'm Queen Alexa. I run the Political Shit Show. I do like weekly shows. I'm like one of the only debate panels in town that's left. Why we're here? So originally, when you made your first Extreme Dad manifesto, I had talked. I don't know if you remember this, but I talked to you in Chud Logic server, and I was done poorly and stuff like that. And you were dragged pretty hard through the dirt for it, and you know, I think that's kind of what happens. And when I saw that you made a second one, I messaged you and said, "Hey, I think this one was better than your original one," and you wanted to have a conversation about it. One of the reasons that this is the only time I'm ever going to talk about this because I just don't like Extreme Dad. So he joined my community fairly recently. So he joined the Political Shit Show like about a month ago now, and I just dislike the guy even more now. And I've had like I had a conversation with him last night even about this, and it just kind of furthers my feelings and some of the things that he did that were shitty. So I guess that we're talking about like these manifestos and him as a character, and I'm like character assassinate him really hard, as everyone else does.
So, first of all, can you hear me okay?
Holy fuck, you're quiet.
Oh, sorry. Well, turn me up on your end, okay?
You're at 200 and you sound quiet as a mouse. You were fine a moment ago, and now you're like hyper quiet.
Hello? Did that fix it?
That's better. Yeah, that's better. I can hear you more audibly now.
I'm gonna assume that's even better. Yep.
That is better. Yes.
All right, chat. Listen, tell me if it's still shit. I think that should have fixed it. Is that better? Significantly
Yeah.
better?
You're good now.
Okay. Sorry about that. Literally brand new audio camera setup, as everybody can see. So bear with me through some of this. Still low. Damn it. Okay, hold on. I got this. What about now? Much better. Looks better on my end.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You are a lot better now.
One, two, chat. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. I think we should be okay.
Yeah, you sound good now on my end.
Right. I'm sorry. I have a different. I technically have a different. You know what I mean? Because it's two different audio sources. Okay.
Yeah, it happens. It's all good.
Anyways, we're gonna work this all out together, gang. So, do you think Extreme Dad is a pedophile?
We don't have the evidence to show he's a pedophile, but we have evidence to show that he is, he's definitely crazy. He has something that's not necessarily right with the guy, and I think that because of this, it makes people worried to have him in communities around other people and not necessarily just around kids, just around people in general, because I think that he's highly self-destructive and kind of just a nut job.
I mean, is that basically like your only complaint about Extreme Dad? Is it, do you think he's just like...
No, I can go more in depth with it. So like, these are kind of the issues that I have with Extreme Dad. So when this drama came around like 3 years ago, I was around. I wasn't as prominent in the space, but I was definitely around. And you know, the way that he carried himself with what was happening, and don't get me wrong, what happened to him was wrong, right? What Vaush did was wrong, what Xanderhal did is wrong, so we'll just get that out of the way.
Okay.
I think that the way that he carried himself, though, was extremely problematic. He would go from community to community, begging for someone to bring him on, constantly talking about it, wasn't allowing himself to make up for things, and like he was doing just a large amount of things that looked extremely poor on his part. And I think that's where a lot of the things where people were, yeah, he was desperate, and I think that's a lot of reasons why people were like, this guy may be a pedo, right? Because he never helped himself. He never, in a single time in this drama and as many times as this came up, he never helps himself. He is his true worst enemy, right? Because Vaush and even Xanderhal have made very broad claims about people, some that are really dangerous. And they didn't, and it's like, they didn't hold the same kind of like substance or the same kind of weight that this did. And I think a large reason why this was so destructive on his end was because of how he carried himself and how he went about handling this. And it's childish, it's absolutely insane. And then when this drama came about again with like Chud and your first manifesto about him, he did the same thing. He was coming into my server, other Chuds, Star, so on and so forth, just begging, please let me come on, let me have a voice, and people just kept shutting him down. And by doing this, he was constantly perpetuating his own downfall. And I think that like this is just one of many issues that Extreme Dad has, where he can't ever let things go, and he can never take responsibility for mistakes that he made along the way. I had a conversation with him last.
I feel you.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, we got a lot to break through. So what would you have done if you were like in Extreme Dad's position? Because like I get where you're coming from, right? I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I mean, Extreme Dad was right this whole time. If someone else of like higher caliber than me had picked it up, I mean, I think this all could have been done a lot quicker. So yeah, I know he's a bit of a schizo about it, but like, he was right at the end of the day.
Yeah, he was right that like, Vaush and Xanderhal and other people were out to get him, right? Like he wasn't wrong about that. And I think the question you posed is how would I have handled it? So I've been accused of something similar. I was accused of grooming a child. And like even I didn't handle it greatly. But the way that I went about, right? Because I'm going to use what I did, for example, because I actually have proof of this, is I owned up to the mistakes that I made. Really quick. I didn't groom anyone, but I owned up to the mistakes I made. I owned up to what I did. And then I went, okay, these are mistakes I did. Now let's get to the truth of these things. And then we dealt with the drama. I went on streams and was straightforward and honest about the things that happened. And I then put it behind me. And it died away because there wasn't proof that showed. I didn't cover things up and stuff like that. I was like, here's what I did wrong. Here's everything I have. Here's the entire truth. You won't find anything else. No one did find anything else. And it helped my reputation that I was straightforward from that point on. And the drama just faded away, right? It was a really big drama too. It was covered by tons of people and tons of streamers for long periods of time. So
but
it's like
Extreme Dad really did anything wrong. Like on a scale of 1 to 10 of what Extreme Dad did wrong per se, it's maybe like on the internet, especially of all things, it's maybe like 2 out of 10. Right?
Depends on what we're saying is bad though. Like what are we quantifying as being bad? Like what are you saying? Because we may have different definitions of what is bad in this space.
The worst thing that Extreme Dad did was sext someone on the internet without knowing 100% what their age was. That's the worst thing that he did. And I think that this is something that probably happens thousands of times a day by less, important people, and nothing happens of it. But the reason why Extreme Dad specifically was brought up was because he was targeted in some ways, and he was easy to meme. He was somebody that was pretty known in the community, So it was more fun to destroy him than just any other random person, So I don't really think any of that that's like victim blaming Extreme Dad. That he had to be, well, why wasn't Extreme Dad like coherent enough to like get all of his shit out? It's like, well, why weren't these people just not shitty? So I kind of just completely disagree with you.
Yeah, so we can go about like what I think the faults are of Vaush and Xanderhal and why what they did is bad, right? So like when we talk about Twitch politics and the internet space in general and React contents, there are a lot of really bad people in this space that are willing to hurt people's livelihoods, get them fired from their job, be doxxed, so on and so forth.
Sure.
And this extends to like what has happened in this scenario, right? We had Vaush and Xanderhal make bold claims about someone that put someone's livelihood in danger. And that's really fucked. It's really bad. It's evil to a degree, even. Like,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these people who do this, right? Like they're not the monoliths of doing this. There are quite a few people who do this. And so like when we talk about that, it's a problem. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, is about how people who have an audience and how people who have listeners will use these people as an army or militia or whatever you want to call them to attack people that they may disagree with politically or on some level, right? They just don't like this person. And this happens a lot. I've had people come after me for these reasons. I've had people weaponize their communities to try to dox me and stuff like that. So I understand, right? It's really fucked. It's frustrating. And sometimes it's mentally taxing even. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. So you've
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
You've watched both. Obviously, you've watched both Extreme Daddy Festos, both parts.
Yes.
So I've gotten a lot of flack for in the second manifesto. I have, there was a 2-hour-long debate between Vaush and this other guy who I thought did really good, for his age in that debate. And I cut it down from basically 2 hours to I think it was like 12 to 16 minutes of the most insane bit, and I kind of got a lot of flack for that. But me personally, I thought it was important to show, like kind of what you just said, is that these people are weaponizing other people, against each other. Like they're radicalizing other people in their community to go against other people of another like perceived ideology to the point where they're willing to ruin their lives over it. And I was just curious, like, is that one of the reasons why maybe you thought Extreme Daddy Festo Part 2 was better than Part 1? Because, like, I tried to bring up that kind of, like, silent left about how we weren't really saying anything about these fucking crazy people that are on the internet.
Yeah, I think, so these are the reasons why I was more charitable about the Part 2 than 1. Is I think in 1, you took a lot of biased sources, one from Extreme Dad and other people who had reasons to lie or reasons to not necessarily tell the whole truth, right? Where in the second one, you're like, here is the proof that people like Vaush and people like these people did this really horrid thing, right? And I think that you did encapsulate that really well with how Vaush uses his rhetoric and how he talks about things. Because Vaush isn't a dumb guy. That's the thing. He's very smart. Well, hold on, I can explain. He is. I would compare him and how he talks in rhetoric like to someone like Ben Shapiro.
Oh,
right?
I agree.
They're aware
really
of what
smart.
they're saying. Yeah, it's like, and he's like aware of what he's saying, right? So like when he talks about things, the trans genocide, there's these things. He uses really large words that captures people's attention. A genocide, a Holocaust, things like that, right? Really, brash words and really, words that make people go, oh my God, right? Because if you don't use that kind of language, then people don't really listen. But if you use words like there's a genocide happening, well, people listen more. And he did similar things with Extreme Dad, right? He's a pedophile, right? What does society hate more than anything? A pedophile, right? Yeah. And like, so he used that kind of language to weaponize it against people like Extreme Dad. And I think that's wrong. And I think that that's really bad and stuff like that. And it should be called out and should be like, hey, you like, this is not okay. This, and you need to be put to the fire for doing this, right? Feet to the fire for when you do things like this, because it's dangerous. It's really, people can get killed for this stuff, get swatted and so on and so forth.
How do you think we can hold people, specifically Vaush? Let's just talk about Vaush. Like, how can we hold him accountable, do you think, for the extremist rhetoric that he says?
That's a really, that's a hard one. So, like, we have to think. So, like, I'm not really for deplatforming. It's just not my thing, right? So, some people would just say deplatform the guy. I'm not really for that. But I think that, like, when things get to a certain caliber and to a certain level where someone is endangering other people, I think that argument does come to the table.
Yeah.
With Vaush specifically, I think that he has done certain actions that were one immoral, fucking optically and actually terrible, so on and so forth. And when we're talking about extreme death specifically, I think that he did a really fucking terrible thing. And I don't even think like an apology would do anything right. I don't think there's any point for Vaush apologizing because the damage is done. What is done, and nothing's going to save it. So what can we do to Vaush? Nothing really. Like the only thing I could sit here and say is that, oh, we would have to mass report his YouTube or his, and that's not, I don't think that's an ethical way to go about things, is to like organize mass reportings and stuff like that. So there's not really anything. The only thing you can really do is make commentary of what he did is shitty and hope that more people realize that, and that thing gains some kind of traction in eyes that they did a thing that was really bad. That's the only ethical way that you can actually do this. And that can be hard to do. So that's really the only ethical way you can do it without just going, oh, they need to be mass reported and banned and stuff like that, because then that's just a whole nother shit show of itself.
You know, it's kind of weird. I even just in the past month or so, I have really changed my opinion on this topic pretty dramatically. I think I've been pretty much like a free speech absolutist for probably about as long as I can remember. And I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and I've been doing a lot of research on just like how, you know, extremist governments, basically, like dictatorships, specifically, you know, like Nazi Germany and stuff, because it's the most relevant, I think, at this moment, how they've like come to power. And a part of me now starts to wonder if there really does need to be 1% of the population that has to be censored at all costs, because they know what they're doing with their rhetoric, and they understand the power of rhetoric, and thus the only way to stop them is to stop them from speaking, in a way. And obviously I'm not calling for anyone to be like hurt or anything, but I think at the very least, taken off of the biggest platforms on the internet, I think would be a start. I think that Vaush, on further reflection, because I was a huge Vaush fan. That was originally how I got into Twitch Poll. His rhetoric, I think, is, if it was said by a right-winger, they would say take him off the internet. I think that he's basically left-wing Nick Fuentes at this point. And I used to think like, hey, we should platform Nick Fuentes, like Destiny talking to Nick Fuentes with the chicken and waffles. I have a meme where I talk to fucking Mr. Girl and Destiny about it and get completely dunked on. And rightfully so. Because literally, Nick Fuentes goes on No Jumper, you know, one of the biggest podcasts in the entire world, and gets to spread his horseshit message in front of fucking 2 or 3 million people. And that's really scary to me. To me, like, that really does start to sound like Hitler lying to news outlets and completely trying to clean the image while they're literally setting up, you know, for something horrible to happen. The weird thing is that it's kind of like when I talk like that, I almost sound like kind of Vaush in a way. But the thing is that I think that if we had Vaush's government... Hello?
That did fix it, yeah. For a moment there, that sounded like a horror movie. It sounded like a fucking thing out of a horror movie. It just, all of a sudden, you just got like 100 times louder, and then you just boomed.
Well, that's great. We're still trying to work out the kinks here at Wellness Channel Studios. But yeah, so I don't know where that rant got fucked up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly, long story short, I'm pretty much deplatforming at this point certain people, which was a weird change for me.
So, okay. So what's really funny is I'm actually having a debate panel about platforming. You're welcome to come on if you want to. It's at Saturday at 7. But like, so what's funny is, so this is my view on platform, because I run a debate panel, and I platform Nazis. I platformed people like Nick Fuentes, and I've had them on. And so, like, this is my view. People should have a right to say what they want, regardless, right? But I think at the same time, we, like, the people who make this or do the show or host a show, needs to be responsible for how they platform the people. So I think it's irresponsible platforming if you let, like, Nick Fuentes on and he goes, okay, unmoderated, no pushback, say what you want. He's like, the Jews and the replacement and the blacks and the gays, right? That's irresponsible and that's bad, right? And I think that causes harm. But I think if you bring on Nick Fuentes and then you have like 6 other people that are going to push back on what Nick Fuentes is saying, I don't think that is bad. Right. So I think that, like, I'm not for deplatforming. I'm for more responsible platform, where I think we should platform the Nazis, but we need to be more responsible how we platform them, because I think that's a really big problem, is that we're not responsible with how we platform these people.
I'm gonna like really bite Mr. Girl's talking point here. But the thing that he said that I thought was really smart and pretty concise was that, like, no matter what, if you expose somebody to more audience, which would, like, let's say, you're right, you have Nick Fuentes and 9 people that disagree with him, right? So you're getting, like, 9 people's audiences worth of people who would disagree theoretically with Nick Fuentes, right? I think, like, the more audience that you get engaged with people like Nick Fuentes, it just ends up turning into more Groypers. I'm not 100% sure I've seen the opposite unfurl, because Nick Fuentes is just getting more popular by the day, and he was shit on for years,
If people become Groypers from hearing Nick Fuentes, then these people were already almost there anyway, right? You're not going to get a person who is preaching socialism or Marxist communism, and they're not going to hear one conversation from Nick Fuentes and go, all right, I'm done with all this. I need to talk about skull shapes in the JQ, right?
I think,
like, that's not,
yeah, I agree. I think most people are stupid, I'll be honest, and I think that this is kind of what I'm scared of. We kind of got to protect some people from themselves, because I think that just the more audience that we expose them to, the more, like I said, it's the more potential. Like, holy shit, whoever got Sneeko and Nick Fuentes together, what a fucking bunch of morons. Like, because that is literally the perfect audience for Nick Fuentes to come in and just, like, change a whole bunch of minds real quick. You know what I mean?
Right, because they're already red-pilled. They're already, like, on that side of fuck women, fuck you minorities, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and like, that's I feel like that's an upward trend for Nick Fuentes. Like, he's getting connected with just bigger and bigger people, and he's getting older. He's learning how to control his rhetoric a little better. And he's becoming a little more politically savvy over time. And I'm starting to wonder if really, like, just the best way to stop these charismatic people is just to not have them on at all. I wonder. I really don't know for sure. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm kind of just exploring this with you, because this is legitimately something that I've just felt in the last month that I've had a change in. I literally was a free speech absolutist a month and 1 day ago. Yeah.
You're like a person in rehab. It's been 1 month and 2 days.
I'm serious though. For real though.
Scratching.
Well, because it was really important to me. It used to be extremely important to me. Like, I used to be very diehard. You need to platform everybody, but it's like I kind of feel like I was just in denial, because when you really think about it, there really are sneaky, mischievous snake people that really know and understand the power of words. And they are really good at convincing people, like cult leaders, and, and we just need to, like, silence those people. Like, okay, something really fun fact, like, I'm pretty sure Charles Manson, people weren't allowed to go talk to Charles Manson, because Charles Manson literally just had this way of, like, talking to people that would brainwash them just by talking to them, because he was just that charismatic of a human being. I'm wondering.
Okay, I have pushback on that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so so the Charles Manson pushback is still this. Charles Manson wasn't really charismatic. He appealed to really young people who were in, like, really tough positions, right? So if you look at a lot of people like Big Tech and fucking Big Techs, not Tech, Big Techs and the Twisted Sisters and so on and so forth, these are people who are homeless, came from abusive situations and stuff like that. So he would go to these people and go, okay, you have like the worst life. Your parents are addicted to drugs. You're a fucking alcoholic and you're 16 years old. Come to my compound in the middle of this desert, right? And we can do all of that with no restrictions, no rules. It's not really that he was saying things were like, holy fuck. He offered them what they were doing, but in a free environment. And then goes, okay, I've given you these drugs. I've given you these alcohols and stuff like that. I need a favor from you. And these impressionable young people were like, yes, let's do that. And similar with like Nick Fuentes, right? Is he doesn't really say anything that's like, holy fuck, he's an Einstein genius. He says the basic thing that people are already thinking out loud, right? You know, he's like, the Jews, they run the media. And then everyone who's watching is like, holy fuck, I've been thinking this the entire time, right? So I don't necessarily think that we need to just silence them, because that hasn't really worked out yet, right? Because we silenced Nick Fuentes 4 and 5 years ago. We just silenced the guy and look where he's at now, right? So just saying, no, you can't speak anymore didn't help. So there has to be some other way to do it. Or maybe there isn't any way to do it. Maybe we can't actually silence these people, and this is just a natural progression of how these things work, right? That could also be the case. I just don't think there's a really good way that we can just go, all right, silence, no more talking. Because once you're to a certain point of clout and fame, you can't really shut them up, right? You can't, like, no matter how many times we're going to sue Alex Jones, he's still going to be talking and people are still going to be listening. Like, if he's on the street on a cardboard box screaming through a fucking megaphone, there are still going to be people rally around him listening. Because
I'm going to be looking for the copies online. Yeah, I will too, for sure. Yeah. I mean, so do we just need like equally charismatic people, but in the opposite direction to like defeat these guys? Like, how do we deal with them in society then? Because like Nick, you're right. Nick Fuentes is just increasing, and we did silence him. Maybe I am dumb. I don't know. What's the other strategy, do you think?
Well, sometimes you do have to fight fire with fire, sometimes. And when we have a fanatical side, so like when we have the fanatical right, a reactionary, populist right wing in America, we're starting to see like this uprise in a more reactionary left and a farther left, where people are like, yeah, we've got to shoot people from out the window. And we've got to, these genocides are happening, and we got to get violent with these things and stuff like that. And that's kind of the natural progression of just people, right? When things become fanatical, people are just going to start killing each other. We've done that all through human history, where like we've seen, kingdoms and empires fall for these reasons, because when people started to just get these really insane ideas about like these people running the world or the lizard people and stuff like that, and the masses started to believe it, you almost can't control it, and you can't really stop it. You just have to let like natural selection and society just kind of cycle through it, because we're gonna do it, right? And I think we're getting to a point where people are getting so fanatical, there's nothing we can really do but go, well, here comes the roller coaster ride, and it's about to go fucking really far up, and now it's about to go really far down, right? And so I don't know what we can do, if we can do anything at all, because at some point this is going to happen, and we're kind of seeing it begin now.
So when I talk to people that are significantly older than me, like people in their 80s and 90s, one thing that I like to ask them is like, how do you feel like society is going, And something that I find that a lot of people describe to me is this idea of, a pendulum, right? And where it's swinging, and there's no way to stop it. It's just swinging. And you find yourself in periods of history at different points in the pendulum swinging as you grow up throughout your life. And perhaps this is just more of a high swing that we're going through right now, and there's nothing we can do about it. And we're kind of just rocking it out together. And there is something like innate about humans that kind of perpetuates us in this cycle forever, regardless of how good our technology is or how good we can communicate. I think that's possible. But I'm going to be honest, I really hope that's not the world that we live in.
It might not be. Then there may actually be a way. But I, at this time, can't prescribe to you a way that I think that we can fix these fanatical reactionary people that are in our politics, right? We have people that are in places of power and stuff like that that are this way. Like we saw that with Donald Trump. We're seeing this with some of our congressmen and mayors and governors and stuff like that. They're very fanatical. They're very outlandish. Arizona and their QAnon issue, right?
Definitely.
And we,
Oh my god.
and we see, right, and we see all these things, and it's like, okay, how do we fix it? And we always have this conclusion. It's like, well, we can try to silence them, but when we try to silence them, they seem to get bigger these days. So that's not working. Okay, so now we're going to platform them, and then we're going to try to debunk them. But now we've introduced them to a new audience of people who are now listening to them more. That didn't work. So we're like in the cycle of like, well, what didn't work and 2 didn't work? What about 3? And we're trying to figure out what 3 is right now. And like we just don't know what is 3. What's the third option, right? Because deplatform didn't work. Platforming seemed to not really work. So what's the third option here? And I don't think anyone really knows right now. And there may not be. So it's really hard to tell what we can really do right now.
My argument for censorship is that I've kind of observed that a lot of the largest dictatorships arose by, the person that came into power had really good control over the communication at that time. Like Hitler, before he came into power, he was running one of the largest newspapers at the time. And he was basically, like, forcing, politicians to make certain decisions because he would tell them that he already had articles printed that were going to say it the other way. And 33% of Germany was going to, be pissed off that, that he had done, if he didn't do exactly what Hitler said, right? A part of me wonders if, like, we don't have to murder Hitler. Okay, because that's what Vaush would say. Vaush would say, hey, what we should do? Pick up our guns and we should murder every National Socialist. And that's fucking insane, in my opinion. I don't think that would have even really ultimately defeated that movement, right? But I do wonder what maybe could have happened if, like, we could have stopped the dissemination of that newspaper. Like, what if magically we just stopped 33% of Germany from, receiving these views every day, right? And what if there was a way we could effectively do it across the board, so that they never got those views? It sounds really scary. I mean, that's a dictatorship of a different kind, right? But maybe that doesn't lead to Nazi Germany. I have no idea.
Well,
I'm
the thing is, yeah, okay, well, here's the problem, right? So the reason that Hitler took power is kind of different to where, like, other dictators took power. Look at, like, Stalin, and, we can keep going, but we'll just talk about Stalin. That's what most people would know, right? I don't want to get to like these really most these days. Some people don't know. Stalin took power in Russia because there was this period in Russia where they had just came out of a civil war / a famine, and in the mix of a world war, and the society of Russia was collapsing. Right, it was collapsing around itself. People weren't getting fed. People were dying in the street by masses and stuff like that. And Stalin came in and go, no more famine, no more hunger. I'm going to fix all of these things, and I'm going to do it with an iron fucking fist. And, he promised all of these grand things. There were posters made that showed Stalin with Jesus and the Pope and stuff like that. And, like, Stalin was going to be the savior of Russia, and he will make it strong once again, right? And he preached these really fanatical views, and he would go, well, we can fix this. We just have to, like, get rid of like 5% of this population of people in Russia, and then you and your kids won't starve anymore. So go pick up that axe and go take those people out, right? And that's what he did. He weaponized people's weakness, and he weaponized people's hunger and their stuff like that as a weapon, and that's how he took power so quickly. And Hitler took power in a similar fashion, not just with the newspaper. You have to remember, after World War I, money was worthless in Germany. It used to say on the walls in bathrooms in Germany, it would say, please don't wipe your ass with money. Because money was worth less than toilet paper was. And things like bread and stuff was so expensive. So when Hitler came around, Hitler did the same thing. He goes, are you starving starving? Are you sitting in the street dying? Well, guess what? No more. And we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna do all these grand things, right? And Russia, not Russia, but Germany looked upon like, oh my God, like yes, like we have to fix this, right? My kids are dying, I'm dying, my family is dying, no one's getting medical help, and that's what he promised, right? He promised these things, and if we just did these actions and we just did these things, it would fix it, right? And that's what leads to a lot of dictators. And we're seeing in America, there are a lot of people that are making these really broad claims of like white replacement stuff. Like, if we just do these things, if we just get rid of these people, if we just do this, it'll fix your problem. Your job that you got fired from, no more. COVID, no more. Women being raped, no more. Right? And it's really problematic because we have people going there and they're just slamming their fist on that table, going, we're gonna fix these problems. We just gotta get rid of this like 13% of the population. And it's just like, this doesn't ever go well, right? So it's hard to know like how we fix these things, because like, again, this is what leads to these things happening, is people start making broad claims of, we're gonna fix these things, and by fixing this, you have to trust me when I say this, those people of a different skin color, like, we're on Twitch and YouTube, so I can't be too detailed, or you're gonna get banned.
My hope would be that, if we were in a better society, that some kind of like decorum would be observed, where just politicians would hear these people, the how 300 some odd people that we elect, and they could just look at those people and just be like, yeah, clearly that's horseshit. But it is kind of crazy, like the amount of extremist people that are getting elected into positions of power.
Yeah, and it's like, look at so every politician that Trump backed in the midterms is winning and has won. Right. And if you look at like how right-wing populists talk, right, they talk very similarly to how, I'm not going to compare them to fascists, but I'm going to say like they talk very similarly to some of these really problematic people who took power that led to worse outcomes, where they go, are you sick of the schools teaching your kids about the gays and the transgenders? Well, no more. We're not going to do that anymore. Are you sick of immigration taking your jobs? No more of that either. We'll build that wall once and for all. The left won't fucking stop us, right?
Yeah.
And like, we're seeing that in real time. Like, and it's very problematic.
I'm sure there is some way to like objectively prove all of the things that we're saying, right? So, I mean, because it really is just a scam. I mean, build the wall is a scam. Like we need to get rid of the immigrants. That's a scam. Like none of this stuff like adds up in the reality of it. Like immigrants are very good for our economy, white people's economy too. Building the wall is just a detriment, and it wouldn't stop anybody from getting across anyways. Like these are just scams sold to people that are scared. Well, what if we took all those people that were saying those messages and we made it so they could only talk on Cozy TV? We blanket ban them from basically all news media. Like, we make Fox, like, straighten their shit and be like, yo, you can't just be promoting this extremist horseshit. And we go to CNN, too, and we say, hey, you can't be promoting this extremist horseshit either. And we create some kind of ideal society. Like, would it be okay then to maybe ban people? If we had some way of like determining who was true, or what was
if
true.
If we could create a perfect utopia, right? We could create this perfect idea of what is the truth, which the truth is subjective on its own. But like, if we could do that, sure, I think anybody would be down for that. But if we're working into the reality idea of this, we can't really do that, right? Because we're gonna have part of the country go, no, what Tucker Carlson said last night about those trans people grooming kids, that was true. Immigrants are coming here and doing these things. That's all true. And then we have another part of the country that's going, what, you see that thing that fucking Steve, what the fuck his name is, said on CNN? Yeah, what he said was about Kyle Rittenhouse, that's true. He did. He murdered 3 black people, don't you know? He's a racist. He killed black people because he's a racist, right? And we need to ruin that kid's life. And like, it's impossible, right? Because it's like people are so determined to be on one side or the other. There's no middle ground to these things anymore. There's no like going, well, let's compromise on these ideas. People have become so enthralled with these ideas and with these assumptions that people are just to it, right? That's why we're not talking anymore. We're fighting. We're not having conversations. We're punching each other in the face. We're not peacefully protesting and we're burning towns down. That's why these things are happening. And I think that's the problem. And we seem to we're getting worse year in, year out, since, we're now in the, well, quotations, end time of COVID, right? It's like we've been seeing more people become more fanatical.
I think that the reason why we are seeing people become more fanatical is because people are able to turn a profit off of this fanaticism. Would you agree?
Can you say that one more time? I think I misunderstood you.
I think that the reason why we're seeing an increase in this fanaticism over time is because I think that people in our current media environment are able to make a profit off of that.
I agree.
So
yeah.
I think that legitimately, and then that combined with, I think that schools are just teaching people less important things over time. Also, I think that basically we're kind of coming to a point where people are having a hard time determining what the truth is, and it has never been more profitable to tell people a lie. And I think that what we need to do, at least on one end of that, is disable people's abilities to tell lies. If they are just so able to just tell such blatant lies. I mean, that thing about the 3 black people, I've heard that a lot of times in my, leftist circles, and it's just ridiculous. I can't believe that, 2 years, how long has it been? A year, 2 years at this point? You're still not getting the story right. That sucks, Then obviously in the other direction as well. But, I don't know, fuck it. Maybe we just gotta ban them. CNN? Ban them. Fuck it. Fox? Ban them. Government.
The problem is that people are so enrooted into these things, right? If you took Fox away from Tucker Carlson, nothing changes. Nothing changes for Tucker Carlson, right? And so because he's so enrooted, and there's so many people that are willing to listen to him no matter what. It doesn't matter. Look at, again, a good example that's modern right now, Alex Jones. Alex Jones was banned from everywhere. We did, Facebook, Twitter, fucking Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, you name it. We banned him from it, right? And what'd that do? Jack fucking shit, right? Now, he's now getting sued out of his ass. It's a little bit of a different situation. But, as far as his outreach and the people that are hearing him, that hasn't changed. Has it went down? Sure. He went from 150,000 people listening to him to 100,000 people listening to him. That's not that big of a difference. You know what I mean? So it doesn't seem to do much when we just really put the hammer to these fucking people. It doesn't do anything. So then you have to take it to a place where it's now we have to see, we have to financially bankrupt them, right? Alex Jones, people are going after him for something that he did absolutely wrong. I'm actually okay with him getting fucking sued for for all the money he's being sued for.
Yeah.
And he's just being fucking drilled to the ground, right? They want to bankrupt that guy. And there's no way to truly silence people without doing that. So if you want to silence Tucker Carlson, you have to bankrupt him. You have to make him and his family fucking homeless.
Well, you know what I thought was really successful, that I just thought was kind of crazy, that was so successful, was banning kiwi farms. I was very surprised at how well they were able to nuke them off the internet. And what I'm curious is just, if one trans person on the internet can get an entire website completely destroyed off the internet, can we not, as a collective society, just ban these mofos off the internet? I mean, why didn't anyone just ban Alex Jones's shit off the internet, with Cloudflare or whatever the fuck this whole time, I don't know. I feel like we could be pulling more levers if we really wanted to go whole hog and be really deplatformy.
I think the difference between kiwi farms to something like an Alex Jones, right? The majority of people who aren't our age know what the fuck kiwi farms is, right? So the people who are interacting on kiwi farms and the people who are doing things with kiwi farms is a fracture of the people who are listening to Alex Jones and the people who are listening to these other people. So, and taking in a website's not very hard. That's not that hard. But taking down someone who is a household name, taking down someone who has tens of millions of dollars to fight off lawsuits and all these things, that's a lot fucking harder, right? We can go
Oh yeah.
take down fucking
Oh yeah.
Destiny's Reddit, but you can't. But taking down Alex Jones has been a 40-year process almost. Like, this guy's been on talk radio since the 80s, and people have been trying to take him down for that long. So, and we're just now getting to like suing him to death. So
See,
it's
my thing
such
is like
a
I don't want to make it
longer process.
illegal. Like his speech was illegal because it like enticed violence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or like it was like more like harassment, right? I mean, if you say something
He-
that like
he
you know, if you say
called-
something and it calls to violence, but no one actually does anything, that's different than when you
Yeah,
call to
he
violence.
specifically
and some people
said for
actually,
that he.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said specifically he was like, I am going to go talk to the quote-unquote victims of the Sandy Hook shooters, and everyone else should join me, and we should question these quote-unquote fake victims.
Right. Oh, I mean, but it's not only just that. I think the real reason why he's getting hella grilled is because not only was it him, but fans went to these places and doxed the people in real life. Like, that's like a whole nother level.
Yeah, and they were harassed for months on end. They were like,
Which is just insane.
people had to move. Yeah, they had to move
Yeah.
because there were people showing up at their home every day, throwing food at their house, screaming that your kid's not dead, show us your child. And you have to think like the traumatic cause this has, right? You lost your kid in a tragic school shooting, and there are people who come to you every day harassing you. Your kid's not
Okay.
fucking dead. That's fucking horrid.
Here's what I'm trying to say here. So I don't believe that anybody should like be thrown in jail for their speech. So let's say Nick Fuentes is on a soapbox in Central Park spewing a bunch of horseshit to as many people as he wants. So be it. But I think that maybe there's like a societal and company-wide like reason for deplatforming people like that, including Alex Jones, just across the board and doing it extremely hard. And what I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get to is like, I wonder if like when you make something illegal, you know, like should Alex Jones ever go to jail? Could Alex Jones ever say something that he should go to jail for?
Yes, yeah, I think you can say things that you should go to jail for.
I'm not 100% sure. Like, cause I'm almost like your freedom of speech, like, cause then you would lose your freedom.
No, freedom of speech,
way.
and when
No.
when the founding fathers wrote your freedom of speech, right? It was within limitations. There were limitations of what you could do. So if
No,
you
no,
go,
I
you
understand.
see John there, murder John.
What I'm thinking is like,
Like-
you know, if you commit a crime, they take away, what am I saying? It's your ability to live, in a way. If you commit a crime, the government takes away your ability to live, because they take you and they put you in a prison, theoretically. So what I was wondering is like, could any amount of speech that you say, get rid of your, I guess, ability to have freedom and autonomy? Like, I'm okay with Alex Jones getting sued for $1 trillion too, because what he did is a pretty shit move, and I think that this will probably deplatform him for good, right? Because it'll just bankrupt him. And then anytime he gets money, it'll have to go to these people. So, fuck.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But should he go to jail
what the
for
answer
this?
for that situation, maybe. I have to think more on that one. Maybe, but like, when you ask the question or pose it really of like, can you say enough things that you lose your right to speak? I think the answer is yes. I think if you consistently call for actions of violence that lead to violence. So if you go and say, I want John, Billy, Todd, and Samantha all dead, right? And you're sitting here going, they need to die, right? Then yeah, I think that like at some point you just gotta get locked into a hole. And like there's no because you're a danger to society because you're doing this intentionally that are leading people to get hurt, killed, so on and so forth. So yes, there is a point where you lose your freedom of speech because you've used it so much that's led to so many people getting hurt.
Do you think people like Nick Fuentes. So now, okay, so I think we actually agree on almost everything, because I think we actually agree. I'm curious, could we maybe build like a scale together of like people that we think shouldn't be platformed? Like, who do you think shouldn't be platformed that I would know?
Who shouldn't, like, someone I don't think that should be platformed.
Yeah, it could be like famous people too, like politicians or whatever, you know, doesn't have to be Twitch streamers. Just like who shouldn't be platformed?
So, like, if I was to, like, say, like, people I just think that I think someone like Trump shouldn't, because how he's been able to, like, encapsulate the, like, I live in the South, and people in the South, and, you know, and how people listen to him and how he talks, I think is actually dangerous. Like, look at January 6th, a really good example of that, right? Where it's like, you know, he used speech and language over periods of time, which led to people going, you know what, no more democracy, war.
Okay, I agree. All right, I think that's a really good baseline. I agree with everything that you just said, literally. So now, let's do Nick Fuentes.
Nick's Nick's a hard one, because, like, I think that Nick does some level of harm, but I think that harm can be dealt with because he doesn't have the same impact. But I feel like if he became, like, even bigger and like he had, like, some, like, insane level, then I would say yes. But at this moment where he is and the audience that he has, I don't think that he should be completely silenced, but I think that it should definitely be watched and definitely be regulated differently. I think that he should be regulated differently than some other people. So not necessarily deplatform, but it should be regulated to what he has, what the ability in his outreach that he has.
Hello, I'm sorry, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, hello?
My audio cut out for 15 seconds, my bad. So I lost you about Nick Fuentes shouldn't be deplatformed because he doesn't have, like, a large enough audience, but the potential for him to get the audience, like, maybe in the future. You think that maybe in the future there would be justification to deplatform him, Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think that, like, if it got to a certain scale, absolutely. And I think that, like, I think what he does should be regulated more, though. I think that, like, how he's kind of created an environment where he can just say whatever he wants is a problem. So I don't necessarily that he should just be, like, silenced forever, but I think that it should be regulated more and be watched what he does say, because it opens the doors to allow him to preach for, like, terrorism and stuff like that. And I think when that starts to happen, that's when that door needs to be shut on him and then lock the door on him.
Okay, so there's another one of those weird. I completely agree with everything that you just said. Here is the thing that I'm really wondering now is just like, when should we? Do you think? How much further along do you think he has to be before it's like we need to just nip him in the bud, or do you think we ever should, like, nip people in the bud, in regards to this, like, you know, free speech? Or should we make sure, like, they have to actually commit the sin before we ban them? Or can we preemptively nip it in the bud? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, like, we can't really preemptively, like, ban someone, because that would be like a thought crime, right? So we have to let the crime happen before we get them. So, like, for Nick, and now I could be wrong here, and I feel like if I'm going to say this and I could get, like, flack for this. At this time, I can't think of anything or know of anything where he's openly preached for, like, terrorism and stuff like that. He's preached harmful rhetoric, but to my knowledge, I don't think that he has said anything that should get him completely silenced forever. But I think that there's a chance of him doing that, so that's why we should watch what he does, what he says, and how he says things. Because I think that there's a high possibility of it happening. But you have to let him say it before you do it, because we can't charge people with thought crimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's do a different person. How about Kanye West? Should he be deplatformed?
Kanye West is too stupid to deplatform. No, I don't think we should deplatform him. I think that he's just a dumb fuck, and I don't think that anyone's hearing Kanye West and going, "Holy fuck, the Jews! Holy shit!" Like, I'm down. Like, no one that wasn't already anti-Semitic isn't listening to Kanye West. So no, I don't think he should be deplatformed. He should just be mocked and laughed at. I don't think that he causes any harm. The only people that listen to him are the people that already were. So.
Okay, so if we had a crazy person on the street that had the exact same thoughts as Nick Fuentes with a Twitter account, and he's like tweeting like the exact same ideas, but the only reason why he's tweeting them is because he's fucking batshit insane, whereas Nick Fuentes actually believes the things that he's tweeting. Should we ban both of them, or should we only ban Nick just because he actually believes what he's actually tweeting?
All right. Okay. So you're asking? So should we ban the person that believes it being Nick Fuentes, or like I actually didn't. Can you restate what you said? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's been a long day. Okay, so should we so obviously like when Kanye West tweets, the Jews are, we go on DEFCON 3 on the Jews. YouTube, please do not ban me. You already hit me for the last one. Like he's an idiot, Like he doesn't really like believe what he's saying. In the same way that Nick Fuentes, if he typed, we go in DEFCON 3 on the Jews, it's a very different tweet with very different intention behind it.
Yes.
So we should ban people based on the intention of what they write as well, you would say.
Yeah, I think that intention, track record, and how they're framing it. Because when Kanye was like, the Jews were coming, right? It was like people kind of knew, and most people understood that Kanye West is a nut job, because people have already perceived this 10 years ago. With Nick Fuentes, people listen to him, and they listen to him in a way where they believe what he is saying is true, and they take it as the truth, because he has built an audience and an amount of people who listen to him for advice. So when he goes, "Jews, you're next," right? When he's doing that, people all go, "They are next," and like that's kind of the problem, right? So like one has actual harm, and the other one just, this guy's retarded.
And I think Nick Fuentes, because you were asking like you don't know if Nick Fuentes has done, or if anything that he said has actually amounted to any amount of harm. I think it has. So like obviously, boom, right there. There's your fair reason to ban Nick Fuentes. Whereas like Kanye West, it's like what really happened was like millions of Kanye fans just went, "Oh, Kanye, please, what are you doing? Please don't do this." Like no one's really getting like converted over to Nation of Islam, or fucking, that shit. They're
not pulling an Andrew Tate.
Yeah, it's not happening. No. Hey, there's another one. Andrew Tate, should he be banned? Should he be completely deplatformed?
Okay, so I have to be honest here. Andrew Tate never interested me, so I don't really. I know the bare minimum, so I don't really want to. I don't know. Because I don't know enough about him to like really say like this is bad. I more know the basics.
Yeah, I'll give you an axiom, okay? Let's say for just the intents of this conversation, Andrew Tate never called for violence, but he did say hateful things against women. Should he be deplatformed?
No.
I'd say so too. Like for me, it really is the violence thing, and it really is someone has to commit the violent act after you say it, I guess. But that really does scare me it's just kind of like we have to accept that there is a certain amount of violence that will happen in this world because of free speech, and we have just accepted that having the free speech is a greater value than potentially stopping a crime. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's just how we roll as a human society. Maybe that's better.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Vaush. Should Vaush be deplatformed?
That's hard. Because I think that like Vaush has called for things that are like really bad, and he has called for violence. So if I was being consistent, I would say yes.
But you know, for me, what it is so there's 440,000 Voshites out there potentially, right? We'll just say it's the number of subs. There's maybe like I don't know, maybe 20 to 50,000 Groypers, if that. There's probably less than that even. How militant are those like 20,000 Groypers versus the 440,000 Voshites? Like the Voshites are just going to be like LARPing in their bedrooms, whereas like the Groypers are going to roll out in fucking safety vests and tiki torches. You know? It's like, to me, that's the big difference between their audience too.
I would say there's a line here, right? So how the far left handles things is they dox people online, they find out where they work, they try to get them fired, they try to ruin their life through the internet. Where Groypers do it through the internet and then try to in the real life as well. They do like double, right? They're like, okay, we've got you fired from your job, we've ruined your relationship, all your friends think you're a pedophile. Now we're gonna come to your home and burn it to the ground. Where the far left, and like when we're using the Vaush people, it's, you know, we've got you fired from your job and doxed. Now we're done, and we don't care about you anymore.
Fair. Well, we're gonna let the Oregon fires of 2020 burn down your house. We don't even have to show up.
Well, because most of them don't have a car. Most of them are probably around, you know,
in their fucking mom's
17.
basement. Yeah, exactly. High key though. That's one of my theories for why his audience stays exactly the same, is because people that are young get in there. They get in there for maybe a year, because he's only really been active for like I think 3 or 4 years at this point. You know, they get in there, and they get in there for a year, and they grow up, and they realize how dumb he is, and he moves on. But then there's, you know, a whole year's worth of other people move in, but it never really grows. It just cycles.
Yeah.
I don't know. Random meta theory. Yo, this has been a pretty good conversation. I think I'm pretty good. Is there anything you want to talk about, Queen Alexa? Anything in particular?
I don't know anything offhand. I'm running a show, like I said, Saturday at 7. We're talking about should we platform Nazis. So it kind of fits what we're talking about here. And yeah, it should be fun. And you're welcome to come on, Will, if you have time.
Is that Oh no, I'm gonna be turning up Saturday. I 100% can't do that. I'm sorry. Next time though, hit me up for the next show. I'm down.
Yeah. I put all the announcements in the Politico Shit Show Discord. So anyone that's watching, yeah. Okay. And for everyone else, join my Discord. I don't ask for money. I just ask for you to join my Discord. It's pretty simple.
I'll link it in the summary or the description of this.
I appreciate it.
Hello.
Yeah, no, yeah, this was a good conversation. Yeah, I don't really know anything else. But yeah, this was a fun, productive conversation, which is kind of rare in this space.
Trying to change that. There used to be a lot more productive conversations in this space. This past
It'll never change because number one, Twitch poll's gonna die soon, and then all of us content creators are moving to YouTube, and then we're just gonna do the same thing until we die in YouTube.
We'll see. I don't know. I think that there is a pathway for. I'm calling it online poll. That's what I'm calling it now, because Twitch poll is dead, completely, and YouTube poll is not really catchy. So I'm calling it online poll because it seems to encapsulate it better. I think there's a way to get out of online poll and into something significantly more productive. And I think that a lot of the people that are in online poll right now are just holding themselves back by getting into this dumb drama shit. When the big numbers used to come when you had a big debate. Now the big numbers come when you have someone who's spicy and full of drama come onto your panel. Which...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the problem with this space is it's drama-oriented only, and we're so invested into content that we're willing to fuck over any person who may be a friend or something to make that content. And this space is also circles and spaces, and the people who kind of branch out of that do really well. I've done well with connecting with everyone because, well, I talk to Nazis, I talk to commies, I talk to left, right, so on and so forth. And like that's right, but most people in this space don't do that. They make their circles, they make their hug boxes, they make their safe spaces, and they go, "This is it. This is all we have." Period.
Yeah, and that sucks. Queen Alexa, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a
Have a great night.
conversation. All right, you as well.